We're anxious to get the website up and running and functional, which we clearly have failed to do to date, although I would suggest the website has never crashed. It is functional, but at a very slow speed and very low reliability, and has continued to function. Having said that, they pared down some of the features, feeling that it would be better to load them in later. One was the shop and browse.
Yes or no has an end.
Okay. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Steve Malzberg Show. Wednesday edition, and a very big day up on Capitol Hill as the Energy and Commerce Committee in the House got to grill Kathleen Sebelius. And there was some grilling, although there was some questions and topics that were very, very obvious by their absence. But joining us now is a man who was not involved in the hearings, but I'm sure he has plenty to say. Congressman Tim Huelskamp, Republican from Kansas. And hello, Congressman.
Steve, pleasure to join you. I was actually at the hearing. I do not serve on the committee.
Okay.
But I thought it was my duty as a Kansan to see what our former governor was up to. And I tell you, we're embarrassed.
Well, first of all, I was going to bring up the Kansas, but first of all, to what she just said. As she said that the website has never crashed, if you at the same time went on the website, it said this I'm reading, the system is down at the moment. We are experiencing technical difficulties and hope to have them resolved soon. Please try again later. So right off the bat, right from the get-go, saying the system has never crashed, she said that as the system was crashed.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, this administration, and starting with her and the president, I mean, it's absolutely clear they're going to lie, and they lied again. And she not only lied about it crashing. I mean, I frankly had been trying to get online for 4 weeks to make this happen. It's my duty as a congressman under Obamacare to sign up, despite they're trying to exempt me. But to stand there and say it's not crashed when indeed it has. But also, she also did admit that they had absolutely no reliable data. They don't even know what's happening. And if they do know what's happening, the numbers are so bad it's even worse than the news that's getting out.
No, you're absolutely right. Where to start with her? Let me bring up one of those items or issues that did not come up. I don't believe. I did not hear the whole hearing, but I haven't seen this anywhere. What about the fact that this was apparently a no-bid contract for the website? That was given to a company that has as one of its high-ranking officers Michelle Obama's Princeton buddy. I mean, how could that not be brought up by the Republicans on this committee?
Well, that's what you have happen when you have big government trying to take over 1/6 of the economy, and then what are they going to do? They're going to hire their friends. And that's happened over and over. This is just like Solyndra, which actually came up in the hearing, them hiring their buddies. They're incompetent. They mismanaged that. And it's just shameful that the American people took the lie of the president. He promised them, if you like your health care plan, you can keep it. And Kathleen Sebelius repeated that lie again today, and lying to the 10 million Americans at least that have lost their health care coverage because of Obamacare.
No, absolutely. And you know, they're spinning this now to say that, well, it's not us. We're not canceling. It's the insurance companies that are canceling the policy. But the insurance companies are canceling the policies because the Obamacare law makes it so stringent that you have to have so much coverage. If you have to have maternity coverage, even if you're a senior citizen, all this kind of nonsense that, of course, policies were going to be dropped. So he lied, she lied, he kept lying, they're lying now, the media is helping them lie, and you know what? You use the L word, but I got to tell you, in the media, they are so careful to use every synonym or any kind of word that approaches lying, but they will never say that Barack Obama lied. They have not yet said it.
And that is the case. But I tell you, Kathleen Sebelius knows the truth about the insurance industry. She was the insurance commissioner in Kansas for 8 years. She knows, and she admitted actually later in the hearing, yes, insurance companies, their plans change every year. What she didn't say, what she refused to say was, well, you know what, there are 75 lawsuits going on right now because of the mandates in your plan where people say, they're forced to cover things that insurance companies and individuals, millions of Americans, do not want. And that lawsuit hopefully will go up to the Supreme Court later this fall about Hobby Lobby and Little Sisters of the Poor, and that didn't even come up at all. But at the end of the day, the website is the symptom. The real problem is the arrogance of these folks that think they can do better than you and me in picking our health care plan. And we're going to see continued disasters on this front. They'll probably get the website straightened out one day, but at the end of the day, Do you want Kathleen Sebelius picking your doctor and your insurance company at the end of the day? When she gets done picking, regulating, and choosing, there'll be one choice left, and that'll be single payer, which is where they're heading, I do believe.
No, absolutely. That's exactly what they want. There was also a point, Congressman, where she was asked about something she had said to Sanjay Gupta about wishing she needed 5 years, not 3, and she said, "Oh, I don't recall saying 5 years or anything." Let me play it for you. This will be cut 41. Will, here's cut 41.
The president did say that he was angry about this. I mean, do you know when he first knew that there was a problem?
Well, I think it became clear fairly early on, the first couple of days, that...
So not before that, though? Not before
No,
October 1st? There was no concern at that point, either in the White House or at HHS?
I think that we talked about having testing going forward, and if we had an ideal situation and could have built a product in, a 5-year period of time, we probably would have taken 5 years, but we didn't have 5 years, and certainly Americans who rely on health coverage didn't have 5 years for us to wait. We wanted to make sure we made good on this final implementation of the law.
Now, there she is, obviously saying she wished she had 5 years. They needed 5 years for optimum, results. And today she looked at the congressman like he had 2 heads.
Well, when you're trying to cover up a huge mistake and you're trying to move down the road and say, hey, nothing happening here, and when you're trying to deflect the fact you've overseen a great debacle, you're going to continue to lie. But the biggest one of all is trying to tell 10 million Americans, including thousands of Kansans in my district, saying, you know what? You don't have health insurance today because we canceled your coverage, even if you liked it. Kathleen Sebelius of the National Convention said that will never happen. The president said that over and over. He just said it just about a month ago. Again, repeated the lie. At least the media is starting to see through that one. But to have her repeat that is only Nixonian in its approach to say, hey, if you say it long enough, maybe the media will finally report the spin.
Yeah, and
again,
that
you can't tell these 10 million Americans they still have their insurance. You can lie all you want.
Right.
But I've heard from Jennifer in Phillipsburg, Kansas. I've heard from families all across the state of Kansas. They are being harmed by our Obamacare, and Kathleen Sebelius does not care.
No, we're talking to Congressman Tim Huelskamp, a Republican from Kansas. Interesting, it was it was Congressman Joe Barton from Texas who made the Kansas analogy, and of course the Wizard of Oz when he said to Kathleen Sebelius, "You're not in Kansas anymore." That must have hit home for you.
It really did. For the record, she didn't originate from Kansas. She's from Ohio.
I know you want to disown her as much as possible.
You know what? I said, hey, I signed a letter to ask her to resign, and the president could fire her yesterday if he wanted to. But I did say, hey, if we're going to do that, at least give asylum for her to a foreign country so she doesn't return back to Kansas, where she's done some very destructive things that we're trying to recover and finally years later making some progress in the right direction. But one thing I've noted as well, in Kansas and elsewhere, we have a little word called hypocrisy. You know what? If it's not good enough for you, Kathleen Sebelius, and she was asked, she tried to avoid that question over and over. If it's not good enough for you, why are you requiring Americans to sign up for Obamacare? She refuses to sign up for it. She lied that she couldn't sign up for it. She can.
Right. She said,
can go on the D.C. exchange, pick up the phone, or wait on the website for 2 weeks, but she can do that. She doesn't want it. She doesn't want to change anything. She wants it just for the rest of you and a different laws for the political class.
She actually said I think it's illegal for me. She has the same insurance you guys have. It would be illegal for her to dump it and go get a private policy. That's absurd. Hey, Congressman, I thank you, as always, for your honesty and for being there, and keep holding them to account.
We will do that. Thank you, Steve.
All right, thank you. Congressman Tim Huelskamp, ladies and gentlemen, Republican from Kansas. Dorothy, there's no place like home. There's no place like home. There's no place like home. And when we come home to the Steve Malzberg Show, a congressman who was participating in the hearings,